Hi, I'm Wayne Finley from the back room. Today I'm going to talk about modern trends and technology in the BPO industry. I want to focus on a bit about our background. We've come from accountants, how we got going in Clark, where our office is located in the Philippines. I sort of also want to talk about future trends, what I'm seeing is where we're going to be in the next 5 to 10 years in our industry. So yeah, look forward to talking about that, and here it is. Yeah, hi, it's Wayne Finlay here, Global CEO of the Backroom. Look, it's really great to be part of this event and be able to show you a bit more about what we do. Today, as mentioned, I'm going to talk about some of the tech and trends that we have in our modern BPO firm. So what I'll cover off today is I'll give you a bit of an intro. I've already done a little bit about us, but I'll give you a bit more detail about the back room. Then I want to talk about what a modern BPO looks like, how it operates. And then lastly, I'll go on and talk about the future and how that will look in the BPO industry in the next 5 to 10 years. So, a bit more about the back room. So, I'm Wayne Finlay, chartered accountant. I'm in New Zealand. We come from an accounting background and that niche with the back room. We had my brother and I had a chartered accounting firm here in New Zealand. We were always pretty tech focused with our firm. We were very much involved with Xero accounting software. Xero's sort of taken off globally. If you haven't seen it, I do suggest you have a look at it as far as accounting. It does a great job. And we've always been very tech focused. We're actually off a farm. We're very practical type people, but when we had our accounting firm, we were always looking at ways to use technology and to see how we could improve our systems and processes with technology. It's always sort of been our mantra. And that's carried on to the back room, which we started after we sold our accounting firm. And that is always, again, with a tech focus, ways to always look at improving better systems, and that's definitely helped us grow from prior to COVID around 150 staff to now we're close to 300 staff, and so I'll help explain how that's helped our growth. So what does a modern BPO firm look like? I think you need a modern culture, and I have mentioned modern. There's one thing having a culture, but to actually implement your culture and have it so it can coexist with your firm is very important. I've mentioned tech, and having a tech focus is important to us. We always have said that if there was technology and it could improve your systems or processes, then we would always look at it. One thing we're big on is being able to scale. And so having scalability is easy in the Philippines. You can do it. You can just go out and hire more staff. And that's what a lot of businesses have done. But does it actually scale long term, or what does that mean to your business? Having more staff can sometimes create more problems, but having better systems and better technology delivers true scale, and that's what we're about. I want to talk a bit more about security. It's a big issue at the moment. It's probably our biggest issue right now, and worldwide. We're seeing some interesting stuff happening, and I'll talk about that. Communication. So it's really important in our industry is effective communication. We are in constant contact with our clients our employees and also our suppliers and stakeholders. So it's important to have really good communication, and I'll talk about some of the systems and processes we have for that. I'm also going to talk about thinking virtual, and sort of refer to Tim Ferriss in his book, The 4-Hour Week. And that was like a really important sort of turning stone for me when I was running my accounting firm, and then for how we ran our BPO business. And lastly, I'm going to talk about our training and education and why that's a big focus for our business. Migs is going to talk after this. And he's going to go into that in a lot more detail, because that is a big part of the backroom. So first of all, I'll talk about a modern culture. So our culture, one of our values, our core values, is to embrace technology. I've talked before about why we do that. One is we want to be able to scale, and also we want to improve our systems all the time, and that sort of leads on to another one of our key values in our business is about Kaizen, or continuous improvement. So I think it's really important to always look at continually improving or improving your systems, or having that mentality. So not being change averse, I think, is important, and that's culture driven within your firm. It's something you just can't teach. It needs to be embedded within your business. A great book to read on Kaizen is The Toyota Way by Jeffrey Liker. I'd recommend you have a read of that. And again, it's sort of a great way to sort of have that always as part of your business, or embedded into your business, so you're looking at ways to improve all the time. And it's one thing having a culture or writing it down on a statement, but you need to be able to share your culture. And so it's important to be able to share that with your employees, your clients, and your potential clients. So with your employees, they need to you need to live and breathe that culture. If you can get that within your business, then you can. It helps you when you go to make some important decisions, or when you're dealing with people. If you get stuck on something, go back to your culture and think about how you should do it. With your clients, again, people want to work with people they can, they can, how would you call, they can sort of see that they're a similar fit to how they operate. They need to know who you are. They need to know your story, and part of that is your culture. And that sort of leads on to potential clients as well. Nowadays people just don't buy because you may be the cheapest, or you produce a lot of it. You need to be able to show your clients that you have the right culture and you're the right fit for them to work with you. I mentioned security. It is a big issue facing the BPO businesses today. Right now, there's a lot of malware out there. There's a lot of phishing emails. You're getting ransomware. So it's important to be on top of this, because we're dealing with client data. So again, you need to have the culture right within your firm, within your BPO. We have a lot of security awareness training. We have software that we use that helps protect us from outside threats and internal threats as well. So you need to cover off both. And you need to have security both with IT and computer, and also physical security, like how and who is coming into your business, and and when they're coming in, who they are. So we've done and gone through that. It's not a cheap exercise. So and some of the tech that we use with security can help with all that. We have software that can track employees, their monitoring on their computers. Now that's important right now where we have some staff working from home, so we can run some productivity stats on employees. It's also one thing we're aware of right now is employee burnout, because they're working from home. They're working a lot of hours, and we sort of want to track that as well, because they may be working too much. We need to sort of nip that in the bud if for instance, they're working more than what they should. That's something, especially in the heat of summer, that can be a problem. You're working in confined spaces without aircon, so that can be an issue. Other bits of software we use is like Practice Protect, LastPass, the higher version of that, where you can geolock, so you can't access your PCs from outside of a certain location. We're into cloud software big time, so we don't rely on servers. So therefore, like some Microsoft Enterprise E5. Also, having 2FA is important on all our machines, and LastPass, Practice Protect help us do all that. So having that culture of having a tech focus has definitely helped with security, and it's something that we're always continually improving on. And also the training involved in that is important. So having the security awareness training, running that continually for new staff, but also for existing staff, running penetration tests, sample phishing mails to test staff out. There's a number of things that we do just to make sure that our security is at the foremost. Also, one thing I should mention is one of our culture statements is integrity and confidentiality of information. That's a big thing. So, one of the things that I always say is think before you click. Don't open an email unless you know where it's come from. So it's simple stuff, but you do need to spread the word amongst our team. I mentioned communication, how that's a big thing with our culture. I always try to get our team to get on Zoom rather than email. You want to get that rapport with your team. It's easy just to bang out an email, but I find that having that face-to-face contact is better. You can get the empathy, you can see reactions from the team, engage how, and if they understand what you're talking about. Coming from a different country in New Zealand, like my dialect is different to yours. So using video rather than email instructions, I find works better. That way people can fast forward and rewind and slow down and be able to follow our instructions. When we were in our accounting firm and we were dealing with our offshore team, we would always send videos for our jobs that were to be done offshore, and we would have the instructions using the likes of this software I'm using right now, Loom, to share how to operate or how to do that job. It just changed the way the turnaround of jobs. It went through the roof. And also communication needs to be triangular. So you have your client to us, and then we have us to our employees, and then we have our client to our employee. So it's important that that all those streams of communication are open. If you have one shut down, then that impacts on the other. I always talk about our business in the form of a rocket ship. I know behind me I've got Buzz Lightyear, and I sort of talk about our mission, to infinity beyond, which is a bit of a joke within our business. But I talk about our BPO firm and the way a rocket ship's going. So you have your astronauts, and they need to be trained up to run their mission. And then you have your mission, which is when they're on the rocket ship and they're heading to infinity and beyond. Now, if you're getting all green lights, that's all good. Things are going well. But you need to have those checks in place, your green lights. And that's what we have in our business. Our software, our systems, our processes. We need to have those checks so you know what those lights need to be. So when you get a red light, you need to know instantly, and you need to know what to do. Because when you're on a mission to infinity beyond, you're in outer space. If you get a red light, then there's problems. So knowing that you have that red light is important. So that's where we have our software. We run our monitoring software. So if we get something on that issues a red light, then we can instantly go to a client and or to the employee to rectify or to fix that. So, we're on a mission, and I always like that rocket ship analogy because it puts it into practice how, your communication and your lines of communication and what you need to communicate to everyone, how that works. I've mentioned some of the tools that we use for effective communication. Some of the other ones we use, like having a good HR portal so we can share all stuff about our employees. That's really important. We use Slack. It's great for talking with everybody. You can set up your channels so we can broadcast across the whole team to different management groups, to different admin groups, clients. It's really good for spreading the word. We use Teams and Zoom. So again, we like video. I don't really like email at all, although you do get bombarded with emails, but it's trying to figure out how you can deal with that. I'll talk about that shortly. So communication is really important. Thinking virtual. A great book I read was A 4 Hour Week, and that was a bit of a life changer for me. I wish I could work a 4 Hour week. I'm not too far away, but it's something that you can aim to do. I don't think you actually have a work life and then you have like a family, or it is, your life is your life, and it includes work and private. I don't think yet. For me, I don't sort of divide the two. It's just one on top of the other. And it's managing that time across the two. Because if you enjoy what you're doing, then it doesn't really matter what your week looks like by trying to split it up. Tim was great into virtual everything. And I'm seeing that with some of the types of roles that we're getting and asking for at the moment through our BPO. So virtual assistants are a big thing at the moment. Look, I have a virtual assistant, and I just find Erica invaluable for what she's doing and helping me out. And the list of jobs that I can send to Erica is growing and growing every day. The one thing is that the 80-20 rule, the Pareto analysis. So being able to get to delegate is important. It's one of the things I learnt early. If you delegate, don't expect it to be done 100% the same as how you do it. 80% will suffice as long as you have the checks and balances in place. That 80% of how you work is good. So, and that applies to also different things that you do, like your clients. You have the 80-20 rule. With the staff, the same. You have the 80-20 rule. Staff, some of them take up 80% of your time, whereas some staff don't take 20. So it's finding that balance across the two. Focus on the things that matter. Like, I know you get bombarded with emails, and you can sort of get into this war with your emails. So just having a VA definitely helps there. and working smarter, not harder. I'm a firm believer in efficiency and effectiveness. So getting the tools like Asana, having your VA to help you. So working smarter, definitely not harder, is something that is sort of part of my ethos anyway. And another great thing I learned, and it is to do with being virtual, and a lot of people do it, is don't implement. As I call a recipe, it's called D times A equals R. So decisions times actions equals results. It's another sort of rule in life that I work with. Sometimes you don't get good results. Sometimes you get bad results. But don't be afraid to make decisions. But the thing is, you can have lots of decisions, but then you need to act on them. So that's implementation. So it's a recipe in life. I've got that written up on my wall. And so don't be afraid to act on things. Don't be afraid to make decisions. But the key thing is implementation. Migs is going to talk more about our training and education, but I thought I'd go over that. It is important for us. It is what makes us different to a lot of other BPOs, is our training and educational focus. It's part of our culture. We're always looking at ways to improve what we do with our training. We see ourselves as creating accountants. We don't go out and get accountants, we create them. So we put a lot of emphasis into training and education. We hire a lot of young people. We hire a lot of grads straight out of university, interns, OJTs. We see them as a big part of what we do. Because then I find grads as a bit of a sponge. They just suck that information and learn a lot. So it's one of the things that has really been good for us is having a training educational focus, and having the right tools to do that is important. So having like a really good learning platform that we can put all our videos and our training modules on is important. Being able to use video and tools like Zoom and Loom to be able to share and teach people, and then also having good stuff like and not being afraid to hire more people in that area so you can grow, and that will you reap the rewards later on. So tech is it's a big thing for us, and in your business too, I think would be something to look at. So where do I see the BPO industry going in the next 5 to 10 years? That there is some interesting stuff happening worldwide, and I try to keep a record and keep up to date with everything. It's pretty hard. I don't think AI and robots will take us over in 5 to 10 years. Not on that time span. I think there's always going to be a need for people to analyse and also to interpret information. So in our industry, in the BPO industry, I think there is going to be a lot more people needed. Accounting especially, there is talk about AI, especially with Xero. They're big into developing new improvements all the time. I think you will still need accountants to interpret that data. And also I see a growing need for bookkeepers, especially in the, let's call it the SaaS space or the startups. And a lot of businesses are heading towards having outsourcing divisions. A lot of accountants are having outsourcing divisions. So I think in BPO, I think accounting will increase. The world will be more accustomed to dealing with global staff. That's happening now. And it's sad to say, but COVID has actually helped the BPO industry. People are used to working remotely. I've seen a big uptake in, our staff numbers have doubled over COVID. And the world has become a lot smaller with technology. And that's good for the Philippines, and it's good for the BPO industry, because we have a lot of talent that we can utilise, and it's good for the economy here in the Philippines. Seen a lot of chat. So chat is in websites and chat is in help desk support. I think that's going to continue on, and I don't. The voice or the call centre type industry, I think, will sort of fade away and chat will take over. So in the next 10 years, focus on chat, and also multi-language is going to be important. It's something that we're looking at and keeping a keen eye on. Banking, global finance, I think that's the next big area for disruption. I'm seeing some interesting stuff happening. You got your cryptocurrencies and blockchain. In the next 10 years, there will definitely be something happen there with, especially in your transactional banking. There's some really cool banks that are starting to form now, and the traditional bank is going to be under pressure. That's going to, again, be a good trend in the BPO industry. So I think there will be a lot of onboarding type work there. There'll be some support and chat in that banking and finance industry. And also, I think digital health tech is going to take off. Again, that's sort of, it's another industry that's ripe for disruption, is that health sector. Very traditional, very reactive instead of proactive. Now with technology, we're seeing lots of wearables, your watches. So there's going to be people that will use that data and analyse it. And I think that's where the BPO industry has a place to play there. I'm sure there's going to be a need in the future for a lot of monitoring, with this. You have all this data at your fingertips now. It's what do you do with it? And I think we'll talk about that rocket type ship analogy, that if you put that into the health sector, there's definitely lots of space there that can be taken up in the BPO industry. I'm involved with a couple of businesses at the moment that are doing some really cool stuff in there, been on the proactive approach, and your traditional doctor with his 15-30 minute slot is sort of changing, and over time I think that's going to be something that's going to improve the world as a whole, and it'll be good to be part of that. Hoping that you got something out of this. I do tend to go on a bit, but I know we have a breakout session, and we're going to be available for people to come and meet with us and talk things over. So look, I welcome that, and I'm really keen to connect further. Our contact details will flash up shortly, so please get in touch with us if you have any questions. If you're looking at something that you are in an industry where you want to work, then I definitely would recommend the BPO industry, and also firms like ours, the back room. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Migs. I'm a certified public accountant, and I am one of the pioneers of the backroom outsourced professionals as their training and development manager. And I have been an advocate of the BPO industry for accountants since I began working in the industry way back in 2014. Now, one of the most amazing things about being a BPO company is that we are not confined by physical space. I can tell you, the whole world is literally our playground. Now, we know that accounting is a collaborative work, and it's very, very evident in the way that we do things in the BPO industry. In the processes that we follow in doing a project, or what we call a job, a set of financial statement is a collaboration of different people. Now, one person will be assigned to do one part of the process. Someone would do the sorting and scanning of documents. Someone is tasked to consolidate client information into a work paper. Someone will be tasked to examine, verify, and reconcile those work papers. And then someone will do the review. And then another one will have the client sign the final output. And each of those people would come from different locations. Like, for example, The client is in New Zealand, their staff is in New Zealand, some of their staff would be other parts of New Zealand, and of course, there will be some staff in here in the Philippines. They're in Australia, it's the same situation. And also in the US, sometimes the clients are working on different states, but they try to collaborate with each other. We come from different places, but we still manage to accomplish work in a very smooth and efficient way. Like we are just in one single office. And that's because of technology, with cloud computing technology to be specific. Because nowadays, almost everything has an app. If you haven't realized that yet, almost everything has an app. Like, for example, for communication, we have Zoom, we have Skype, we have Slack, and actually, the entire world was even forced to use them during this pandemic in schools, in even in weddings, some intimate occasions, in a lot of human activities where we need interaction, but it's not physically possible to do so, especially in doing our own work. So that's where that's one of the benefits of having these technology available. Another one, aside from communication, we also have apps related to task management. Like for example, we have Zero Practice Manager. We also use Asana. We use Carbon and all sorts of similar type of system. We also have accounting systems that run into the cloud, like Zero, which allows us to collaborate with each other, even though we are not in a single location. We can do accounting separately, different locations, and still we accomplish things. We also have new systems related to tax that allows us with that type of collaboration. We have apps for customer relationship. We have apps for project management. So there are a lot of apps that are related to the work and things that we need to accomplish. And therefore, there is no excuse as of this moment. There is no more any excuse or any requirement to be in a tangible four cornered space just to do your work. Okay? As long as you see clouds above you, as we say it, a cloud accountant would always be able to get the job done. That's why during the unfortunate times of pandemic wherein everyone needed to lock themselves up, I believe every one of us will be able to relate on that because all of us have been affected by it. In the back room, all we did is to expand our operations from being in a single office to around 150 to almost 300 locations. No, one staff working on their own home office. So clients did the same thing. They locked up. We are working on, or they are working on different locations around the globe, but all of us still get the job done. And this is how we live by our very own mission statement in the back room. Because in the back room, we say we create efficiencies by connecting global talent. What's one of our mission statements. And this pandemic has just helped us highlight that even more. Now, we have created efficiencies for our clients, helping them not only to keep their operations running or to get the firm recover, but we went beyond that. We were able to help them even grow their business despite the unfortunate situation. And instead of being forced to lay off good people in the organization, the backroom has even been able to connect hundreds of new accountants and other talents to accounting firms around the globe. How? By doubling our number instead of reducing our size, we have been able to double our number from 150 people before the pandemic to almost 300 people at the end of this year without losing any single employee. And all of that was made possible by first being committed to our mission, of course, and second, through the assistance of technology, especially that one of our main focus in making all of these things possible is training and development, which is one of the most important parts of the backroom that we consider. So that's probably one thing that differentiates us from the other PPOs. Our focus in the back room is really education. Now, we don't just look for accountants with experience. We create them, okay? We develop them. we make sure that when we present them to the client, both the client and the staff would have that, peace of mind that both parties know exactly what they are doing. Okay, and the backrooms training and development programs are not just staff focused. you know as we teach the staff of the things that they need to know to get the job done and give that confidence to them, okay, get for them to get that confidence that they know what they are doing. We also provide clients with what we call best practice training to make sure that they also know how to handle their team properly, so the staff can get the job done and the client can get to keep those good staff that we have given them. So that's actually a mutual effort, between the back room, the client, and the staff. So that's how that's the formula that we follow. The problem is, how do you train and teach and say guide and nurture, hundreds of people, both clients and the staff, when you are on hundreds of locations around the globe? That's a very big problem, and the sustainability of that formula or that mission or that step that we have taken is one of the things that is very critical. You need to be able to sustain that direction that you have. But as always, as Wayne always reminds us in the training team, he always tells this to us: you need to scale up. That's what we do. That's what we always advise. We need to leverage technology, okay, because technology will allow you to educate different people over several different areas, addressing their need to upskill themselves all at the same time. And that's exactly what we did. We have leveraged technology in producing learning on demand courses for our staff and then assembled them on our own online learning platform exclusively for our employees, helping them enhance their skills from theoretical to practical courses. Now, we teach them about the processes that they are going to use in executing the work for their client. We train them techniques in navigating the systems that the client use in their firms, like how to do day-to-day bookkeeping using accounting systems like Zero. We make sure that all of our staff are not just trained to use a software, but they have undergone official certification trainings related to those systems. We expose them on different actual scenarios in dealing with client work papers and tax returns, and then we create the on-the-job training programs that we have, especially for junior accountants who don't have any work experience. This is actually the reason why we probably are one of the very few BPOs who are very much open to give opportunity to fresh grads, so, the newly passers, and even those who just graduated from BS accountancy and still looking to be a CPA in the future. Well, we because we know what to do to enable them to do the job within the shortest learning curve, instead of just looking for someone who has the adequate experience. And this is one of the accomplishments that we are really, really proud of. But if, for example, we are to train like 10 to 15 people under different training programs covering different topics all at the same time, which happens all the time, how will you handle that? Okay. Now, the usage of cloud-based platforms enables us to multiply ourselves and multiply our efforts to accomplish that goal. And that's what Wayne meant in scaling up. That's what I meant by leveraging technology. But aside from training, we have also leveraged technology in addressing a lot of things. We have leveraged technology in addressing staff queries real time, and we leverage technology in doing live discussions, real time assistance to everyone who needs help. We have leveraged technology in resolving client concerns. We have leveraged technology in providing or addressing training requests, skills assessment, just to make sure that their skills are being attended to, and we are attending to their learning and development, the programs that we provide to them. We make sure that communication is open all times through technology within work hours, of course, especially that communication is another crucial part in maintaining this offshore relationship. We have also leveraged technology in making sure that every staff's continuing professional development is being attended to, be that person an accountant, a CPA, or even those with non-accounting roles. So CPD for us has a very deep meaning that it belongs to everyone as long as you are part of the back room. So your CPD or continuing professional development is really being attended to, and we put a very deep value in that. Okay, and then we also have leverage technology in making sure that the clients are able to make the most out of this offshore relationship. We have leveraged technology to execute our vision to create a team of exceptional individuals around the globe working together as one, connecting them through the aid of technology, developing them through the aid of technology, and creating efficiencies with them, of course, through the aid of technology as well. This is what we believe the reason why this year, while the Backroom is celebrating its fourth year anniversary, and I am also celebrating my fourth year anniversary with the Backroom, a lot of our pioneer clients and staff are also celebrating 4 years of strong relationship with us. And of course, we encourage you to do the same. I remember one time wherein I was talking to other professionals about the situation of the BPO, wherein, because in the BPO industry, you would see that trend wherein people move from one company to another very, very fast. It's a situation that we cannot deny. But what I always tell them and tell myself is that um, instead of giving people reasons not to leave a company, I think the best way to deal with this is to give reasons or give people the reason to stay. And that had been our philosophy, my personal philosophy, when I became part of the back room, and up until now, that's what we follow. We give people the reason to stay with us, to develop themselves with us, and to develop their professional career together with the back room. And I believe technology has been a very, or had a very hands-on impact or hands-on participation on that one. And I think it should be something that every company, every firm, every organization should adopt. We encourage you to do the exact same philosophy that we have used. You need to break your barriers, you need to extend your reach, you need to leverage technology to help more people and make them appreciate what accountants can do for them and what accountants can really do. Because that's the formula that the backroom has been using since day one. And this, I believe, is what makes the backroom the true modern workforce, not only in the Philippines but around the globe. And I believe the entire accountancy profession deserves to achieve that same level through the aid of technology.